Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I'll be checking out a track from Consvmer called Perfekt. I have been trying to stay on top of all of their new releases because I really dig what this band is doing. I will put their social media, their promotional links in the description, as well as Out of Line, the label, and I'd like to thank them very much for getting this over to me, even though it took me a second longer than I wanted to get to the video. I still thank them very much for sending this to me. Very excited for new Consvmer, so I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Sounded way more rhythmic than they usually are. Although the last track was different too for them, real different. Oh, alright, they're bringing that sound back. Oh, those highs are... Oh, you hear that? Is that... Almost sounded like dodgeballs there, but I couldn't tell really. I need to re-listen. Oh. Huh. Consvmer, Perfekt. Let's discuss. So it seems like this track and Stimmen, which featured Connor Sweeney, who used to be a part of Loathe, have taken a bit of a different direction, and I wasn't sure with the last track if that was because of the feature or what, but now I'm starting to think maybe these are both off of a release that might be upcoming. I haven't done a bunch of looking into that, so if that's something that's known, then I apologize. But the sound of these two is something that I think sets apart from the rest of what they've done. I really liked Obsession, but what I meant by when I heard that intro and I said it felt like a bit more rhythmic, and then going into the song it really has a lot more melodic and rhythmic parts to it than I felt Obsession did, and that's not to say I didn't enjoy the album, because I do. I just feel like this sort of sound gets more plays. Well, I know it does because of the last single getting the most plays of any one track in this band's discography for me, so this one I really enjoy as well. I think if they didn't have like the shift in kind of the sound of their guitar tone and like having those more rhythmic sections and stuff that's a little bit less chaotic, then I wouldn't do as much revisiting with the distortion that comes into play, and that's obviously stylistic choices, but I think the distortion works best for me when it's accompanied by instrumentals and such that sound like this, and you have the chorus on this, which is, it's not quite the same. It's not fully distorted. Stuff that's fully distorted vocally for me typically doesn't do the job as well as other stuff, and or go on my listening playlist, I guess. But for this, it'll still go on for me. Not only having the kind of tone that I really like, it's very undeniably reminiscent of like older Loathe, I think. Some of the hole that's kind of left as the direction, and that's not to say that I don't absolutely love the direction they've gone in, and they still have stuff on I Let It In, and it took everything that very much has the sound that their older discography has, and what I'm referencing here, but they did rely a lot more on like the distortion in addition to that style and sound of guitar that you're hearing and stuff, but it's not in such a way that I feel Consvmer doesn't have their own sound to it, because they do, and that in the vocalist, I feel, especially like when I was mentioning those highs and stuff, I really like the vocals, and I love that the distortion isn't kind of interrupting more of those parts for me, because it would not hold the same weight as, like, you know, including it in those heavier parts or the drop or something. I think that's a pretty common stylistic choice as you get into certain subgenres and stuff, so it's not like out of pocket or anything like that. I don't always love that, but again, the instrumentals and the rest of the song are, so it just works very well with the sound, I think, so I did not bat an eye at that at all. Some of those whispers that were worked in there, a little bit of the drumming, like there was one section where there was like one kind of like rhythmic pattern, and I can't remember on what part of the, like, what percussion it was, but then on the next bar it was like, or the next measure, it was like done on the cymbal, and I really liked that. There was just a lot of tasteful stuff in there, having the sort of whispering sections and letting it kind of strip back to those softer moments really makes it I think it balances out those, you know, heavier, more chaotic moments, which are still present. Like, I felt like with Obsession, it was a very chaotic feeling overall. And I don't mean chaotic for me, at least. I listen to some music that is, you know, on towards the top of my rotation and stuff that I would describe as chaotic. So I don't mean that in a negative sense at all. So heavy music has to have some sort of chaos in it for the most part. But, you know, that stuff that's like more unpredictable is what I mean. When you're trying to count it, you're like, what is happening here? Stuff like that. I feel like that's what I mean when I say it's a bit like that intro. I was like, counting. Look at me, counting Consvmer again. Whereas with Obsession, it didn't feel so easy for me. So really, that's what I mean, and that's so they're keeping their sound while bringing in some different influences and stuff. And the outcome of it, I'm really enjoying personally. If these two are off of an album, I'll be very keen to check it out, because, like I said, this sort of style sticks with me a bit more than that sort of less cohesive feel, which is still a lot of fun. But I think it's more on that first few listens and stuff, I'm like, whoa, like, yeah, and then it becomes less of a revisited thing, whereas the parts that I can sort of, I don't know what, I guess I can't speak to that completely as to why stuff like this is more, I guess just because I like it. I'm such a person that, like, searches for a reason, like a detailed reason and everything, and sometimes it just comes down to your taste and your preferences and stuff. So for me, Perfekt and Stimmen are going to be two of the best tracks in this band's discography for me, which is very promising because I liked, obviously, what I checked out off of the record. I think I did 1 or 2 on the channel, possibly. I'm pretty sure. I enjoyed, because then when they came back with a new track, I was ready to go with it. And so it got me into them, but this is definitely keeping me a bit more on the edge of my seat for their next releases. So I will link the music video that I used in this reaction, as well as all of Consvmer's social media, the Out of Line social media, in the description of this video. Yeah, definitely check them out. Give them a follow if you enjoyed this. I think that they'll continue to have some stuff coming for us. It seems like we're on rotation again, so very excited about that. Other than that, you can also find my link tree in the description. It will have the brand new Patreon that I've rolled out recently. I have been having a lot of fun making the content for that, for the Tier 3 people making their playlists. The mixtape, rather. In addition to Patreon in there, you can find the Discord invite link, which the Discord is where our community is based for my YouTube channel. There are a lot of really wonderful people in there. We've got music-related conversation and a bunch of conversation that's unrelated to music as well. So if you're interested in coming to join, check out the community. That will be there. The link tree also has like my Instagram profile where I post all music-related stuff. Whatever links you may need, they're in the link tree. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.